here we go. Let's try a double tap, huh? Pretty cool. 1100 yard double tap with the Palmetto Super Sabre. That's fun. Yep, I gave in to all the peer pressure, all the comments and the messages from you about the Palmetto State Armory, Super Sass, and Sabre liner rifles. I finally picked one up for myself. This thing just landed today. I was super excited to get out here to the range, put my initial rounds through it, and bring you along for that experience. So the plan for this video is just an initial look, an initial impressions video on my new Palmetto State Armory 308 Super Sass rifle. I tell you what, this thing's pretty impressive for the price point. This is a $2,000 rifle. Comes out of the box with a sweet carry case, 3 magazines. It's got adjustable gas block. This is the billet version, which has the loft folding stock as well as the V5 hardware. So really quite the feature-rich rifle. The question is, how does she perform? I know many of you are probably wondering about 100-yard groups as well as performance on steel out at distance. So if you're interested to see how this Super Sass performs for me on my first day at the range, stick around because we're going to take an in-depth look at exactly what I get for results. Now, I know many of you are curious, what's my relationship with Palmetto State Armory? I know that's one of the favorite things in the gun tube world is talking about whatever relationship might be there. And straight up, I reached out to Palmetto State Armory. I asked about if they had a program to help influencers or creators like myself source products to be able to do review videos. And I was actually told no, they do not, which I actually found kind of interesting given the amount of product that's in the hands of other reviewers provided by Palmetto State Armory. But ultimately, Palmetto provided no support in the making of this video. One of my Instagram followers shot me a message on Instagram. We had been talking about these rifles and he let me know when it came in stock, and I bought this rifle, paid full retail, and waited for it to show up. Hit the gun store today. I actually took the day off work. I was so excited to get out here and put my rounds through it. So there is no relationship there with Palmetto State Armory. I bought this rifle just like any other rifle I've purchased throughout my career. And I tell you what, this thing, when I opened it up, I was impressed. I'm happy with the purchase as far as initial impression goes. So as far as the gear in this video, and I apologize for the light, days are short. It's pretty tough to film here in the wintertime, but I'm trying to squeeze this in. As far as gear for the video, so what we have is just the Palmetto Super Sass rifle. This is the billet version again, and that is kind of the higher spec version with things like the loft folder and the B5. But ultimately, this has, I believe it's a Faxon barrel, 1 and 10-inch twist, so it'll help shoot those heavy bullets. And then it's got Palmetto's own handguard, Palmetto's receiver set. It's got a nice trigger in it from Palmetto, but the rifle is straight up out of the box. The only thing I changed on the rifle was actually the stock. I swapped this out. It's the exact same B5 stock. I just used one of my existing stocks that already had my bag rider on it. So same stock, but I already owned this with my bag rider. I like this for shooting groups. As far as an optic, keeping with maybe the more affordable theme, I use my Arken 7-35. This scope was provided by Arken, as well as the mount. You've seen me shoot Arken scopes in several of my previous videos, and my experience is they perform quite well. I thought this scope would be a nice match for the Super Sass. You think about what this rifle is. This is a $2,000 rifle. Now, $2,000 is not cheap by any means, but in the world of large frame 308 6.5 ARs, $2,000 is on the lower end of the price scale. But given the nice premium bag, 3 magazines, the feature-rich item that you get from Palmetto State Armory, you kind of wonder, what am I giving up for that price point? When similar rifles cost $3,000, $5,000 plus dollars, the last Knight's Armament upper I purchased was $4,500 for just an upper. You ask yourself, what are you giving up in this package? So I decided I had to see for myself. So the M-LOK handguard, you could see I have an Arca rail on the bottom of that I use to attach the MDT single pole sky pod that we'll use in the video. And then I went ahead and slapped on the Griffin Armament PSR-7 suppressor. I love the PSR-7. It actually reflexes back over the muzzle a couple of inches. So the end of the muzzle actually sticks into the can about maybe 3 inches. So you don't get quite as much length out the front, but you still get a lot of volume. So that is the rifle setup we're going to be running. Straight up out of the box, bolted on the components. For a level, we're going to run the SG Pulse. This was sent to me by SG. And this is a nice digital level. It lights up red, blue, and green to indicate rifle camp. That's an absolute must for shooting out to distance. So that's the rifle setup. For ammo, we're going to be running factory ammunition provided by Sierra. So Sierra stepped up. They're a supporter of the channel. And they've been helping me out with bullets and loaded ammo. And this video is no different. So we're going to shoot a factory 175 SMK load from Sierra. If you're in the market for 308 or various different bullets or loads, check out Sierra. In my experience, this SMK in particular, the 175, this is a classic bullet. It shoots beautifully out of any rifle. In my opinion, any 308 AR needs to shoot a 175 SMK adequately and well. This is an easy bullet to load, it's an easy bullet to shoot, and it performs well downrange. So I feel like this is a nice kind of middle of the load or middle of the road load to test this rifle with. So all rounds fired will be Sierra 175 SMK factory load, probably similar to like an M118 LR load. Now with that, that's the rifle we're shooting, that's the ammo. Next up, we'll move down to the 100-yard line. I'll give you a close-up look at groups and the zeroing process, the adjustable gas block process. Then I'll move out and shoot steel. In this video, I'm able to shoot steel at 1100 and then here at 650. And finally, at the end, we'll wrap up with my closing comments. So if you like the sound of it, stick around. I can't wait to dig into the Palmetto Super Sass rifle. First up, let's take a look at how the Super Sass performs at the 100-yard line. Now, I've documented every round fired so far. So out of the gate, I fired this round right here, and I was aimed up at this dot. So this is my first round out of the gate after I slapped that Arken scope on. Round one downrange, I went ahead and adjusted my round up and over based on what I measured in the reticle. And I also opened up my gas block a couple of clicks. I'm only shooting one round at a time to make sure the bolt locks to the rear, and that's how I'm going to fine-tune my gas block. This did not lock to the rear. In fact, it didn't even eject the cartridge. So I opened it up a couple of clicks and fired my next round, which actually landed up here in the orange dot. So great correction on my elevation and windage. And then I started shooting one round at a time, a couple of rounds up here. I got the rounds in the orange dots first, and then these three kind of stacked up here. So from here, I actually adjusted down 3/10. Again, the whole time, adjusting my gas block to make sure I'm locking to the rear. And I was doing that at this point. After adjusting down the 3/10, I came down here and fired this first 5-round group. This 5-round group's looking pretty good. I measure that as 1.2 inches. Now keep in mind, at this point, the barrel only has about, say, 6 or 7 rounds on it. So very new, not a whole lot of fouling. First 5-round group, not a lot of heat either. 1.2 inches, so looks promising. Then I loaded up 2 10-round groups and fired them over here on the left-hand side of the target. Now a couple of things here. It's pretty cold and pretty windy out here, so some of this could be some shooter error because my trigger finger was getting quite chilly as I was squeezing off these rounds. But first up would be the 10 rounds here in the lower left dot. And you can see these 10 rounds are looking pretty good. Overall, I measure across this group of 1.75 inches. I'd like to see that a little bit tighter. There's a couple of rounds right here just on the edges of the group that kind of opened it up, but the bulk of the rounds are right here centered up just above the dot, so looking pretty good. These 10 rounds were fired at a pretty consecutive pace. Then I loaded the next 10 rounds into the magazine, no cooling on the rifle, and fired these 10 rounds up here. So 20 rounds total between these two groups. Again, the rifle's getting hot as I go. My trigger finger is getting colder as I go. So what I saw up here was actually great potential. First round out of the gate landed right in the orange dot. I'm feeling good. Then my next 2 rounds actually landed up here as these high flyers or the high rounds, whatever you want to call them. After firing the second and third round up here, I realized I didn't like my position, so I actually adjusted the bipod out 1 click there on one of the legs to resettle my position. And then I fired the next, say, 7 rounds right into this group. So you'll have to let me know in the comments what you think about these 2 rounds. Were they flyers? Were they me? I feel like they could have been position related because after adjusting my position, they stacked right into this group. But ultimately, these are the results that I got at the 100-yard line with the 175 SMK factory load. So 1.2 out of the gate, 1.75, and then about 1.8 inch if you go across the diagonal. If you remove the 2 flyers, that's about a 1 inch group right there. Now if you take a look at all 20 rounds together, look at where the bulk of this group is in relation to the dot, and it would sit just kind of right here above the dot. So really, with the exception of the 2 rounds that were up here when I'm not sure I like my position, overall, you probably have a 1.5 to 1.75 inch group that would stack right there. I did adjust my zero down 1/10 before we go shoot steel. For velocity performance, I saw an average of 26.04 across the 20 rounds. That's pretty quick for a 20-inch barrel. Extreme spread of 43, SD of 11, which will work fine for what we're going to try to do. And I calculated G7 BC a .259 on the 175 SMK. Previous experience, I would say this number is pretty accurate. I'm going to plug that into my calculator. Let's go shoot some steel. We got some nasty conditions. The sun's setting. We're going to have to go fast, but I want to see how this Super Sass does out to distance. Let me know what you're thinking so far in the comments. In the future, I hope to try other bullets. I just had that Sierra 175 factory load handy. Decided to slap it in the rifle, see how she performs. So next up, let's go shoot some distance. So the light is fading super fast out here. These short days are brutal for trying to film content. But I've pushed out full-size IPSC. We're right at 1,105 yards. Now, using the data out of our chronograph, it calls for 12.9 mils of elevation, which I will dial on. And I tell you what, it was quite windy when I was shooting my 100-yard groups, but it feels like it is dead calm right now. So I'm going to probably hold on the plate, no wind. Oh, shoot. We need to come way up with the bipod. And as you can see, that sun is setting. So we're going to test the low light performance of this Arken scope too. Here we go. Full size IPSC, 1,105 yards, dead on the plate. Oh shoot, landed over there about 2 mils right. So wind is just quite deceiving. Here we go. Impact, second round, 1,100 yards. Impact. I think that last one was an impact, I'm not sure. Just low and right. Back. Not happy with my position. Ooh. Well, that was an impact, but felt like got to work on my position a bit. Something like that. Here we go. I'm going to come up a tenth. I have a hunch those are low on the plate. Okay. That didn't seem to work. Not sure what that was about. Let's try it again. Okay, just off the right. Oh, those rounds aren't coming up in the magazine. Let me swap over. Well, let's just shoot these two, and then we'll swap. And call it 2.3. Back. Off the right edge. Let's try this other magazine. We're making our impacts out there at 1,100. That's pretty cool. 6 more rounds loaded up in the other magazine. Still at 1,100. 2.5 left. Off the left edge. The right edge. Back. Back. That dropped low. So it seems like that mag. Let's try this one again. Back. Low and right. Back. Back. Yeah, same magazine problem. So it would seem, same deal, 2 rounds left. It's not loading them. The round is low in the magazine, so I think we'll discard this mag. As you can tell, I swapped the camera to the other side. Still at 1100 yards using the good mag. Let's just keep putting some rounds out there. Zoom out just a bit. There we go. Okay, here we go. Let's try a double tap, huh? Pretty cool. 1100 yard double tap with the Palmetto Super Sabre. That's fun. Both of those were left. There it is again. 1100 yards just double tapping. Must have caught one round. Well, that's fun. Let's keep shooting some distance. This is a fun rifle. We're, oh, we had a piece of brass actually stuck here. Didn't eject. Not sure what that's about, but let's keep running some rounds while we have daylight. Let's try a little bit of positional work here off of some rocks. I put the 2/3 Zipstick up. We're at 655 yards. Calls for 5.1 mils of elevation, which I've dialed on. I'll run the magazine that I know is working, and then we might try the third mag here in just a little bit. So here we go. Low light performance on the Arken, still working. The sun is definitely set. So let's just go left. I don't know, let's try 1 mil to right edge. Gosh, it feels so calm. I'm going to try a half left. Pat. Right edge. Pat. Pat. I'm not sure what that was. It flashed, but it was in the dirt. Might have been a T-post. Pretty cool. Let's try the third mag here. So this will be my first time trying this third mag. Here we go. So it's half to left edge, seems to be working. Pat. Off the right. Let's come up a tenth. Those feel low. Off the left. left. We didn't lock back. Exact same deal. That second to last round is wedged in the mag. Interesting. So the mag did lock back. Let's try a couple of more with that mag. So far it seems like I only have one mag that's running perfectly. Okay, here we go. And did my level go? Oh, there it goes. Battery go dead or? Right. Exact same deal. Let me grab the second camera and show you what I'm seeing here. So as you can see, the bolt is just running over the top of the round. So to clear that, sure enough, 2 rounds left in the mag. So I have 2 magazines that don't seem to be cooperating. That one, the brass got chewed up. We'll try that round. Okay. Tell you what, I have a P-mag in the pickup. Exact same problem. Let's try a P-mag. So it seems like I can replicate the mag issue with about 6 rounds. I've loaded up 6 rounds into this P-mag, and we'll see how it performs. Same target, 650 yards. Okay. Looks like the bipod popped open there, huh? There we go. I did not see where that went. Half to center. Way off the right. Let's go 1 to right edge. Okay, we lock back. Try a handful more. Rifle's getting nice and hot. Yeah. I would say the PMag is working, and I believe I have one working mag that was sent with the rifle. So with that, before the light fades, let's wrap up, and I'll give you my thoughts about running my initial rounds through the rifle. Well, there you have it. That's the end of the shooting portion of the video. Now let's take just a couple of minutes and I'll wrap up and provide you a look at my thoughts for my first day out with the Palmetto Super Sass rifle. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about this rifle. Do you feel like the rifle performed well for the $2,000 price point? Do you like the features of the rifle? Is this one that you're running? And if you are, I'd love to hear your experiences. So let me know in the comments down below. While you're doing that, I'll chat about my experiences with the rifle. So first up, let me just talk about my opinion of the fit and finish of the rifle. I tell you what, when I opened that package up and saw the rifle for the first time, I was really impressed. This is a really sharp rifle. The FDE color is really nice. It's attractive. It seems to be very evenly painted. It looks nice. So I like the aesthetics of the rifle. I like the FDE. The fact that it comes with the B5 furniture, that's premium, that's solid. The law folder, love that. This thing, I don't know, the $250, $300. So that's quite the option to have on this rifle straight up from Palmetto State Armory. When you look at this package, it's extremely long, so the ability to fold that buttstock is pretty slick to make it a little bit easier to manage. The other thing I noticed about this rifle, this is an advantage really to any of my Knights Armament SR25 receiver sets. The upper and lower in this rifle, there is no play. It's tight. That's the way an upper and lower should fit. There should be no play. Every one of my SR25s, I run the AccuWedge, take up that play, and those rifles are way more expensive than these. So the fact that the upper and lower fit together tight really impresses me. That's something that I like. And I tell you what, we can debate this all we want, but I do believe upper and lower fit do have an impact on your ability to shoot accurately downrange. So tight receiver fit, that's a win. So fit and finish on this rifle, I'm impressed. The chromed bolt carrier and bolt seems nice. Next up would be my experience running the rifle. So as you saw in the video, the rifle seemed to perform well. So once I got the adjustable gas block dialed in, which I opened it up quite a bit actually, the rifle functioned. So I had no functional problems that I attribute to the rifle. But as you saw in the video, I do believe 2 of my 3 magazines gave me trouble. They didn't perform. And you saw there at the end of the video, when I swapped over to the PMag, the rifle performed perfectly. So I attribute, or I count 2 of the 3 mags to not work as I would expect. Those last 2 rounds in both those magazines, they were not angled correctly for the bolt to grab it, so the bolt ran over the top, causing a jam, a failure to feed. PMag fixed it, one of them works. So in time, I don't know, I'll play with the mags. Maybe I just trash those, we'll see. But ultimately I got 1 working magazine as of now. So how did the rifle shoot? The 100-yard line, I was impressed with the accuracy. I tell you what, I didn't have any crazy flyers. As far as the zero process, everything went smoothly. Adjusting the gas block seemed to work well. The included tool worked. My first 5-round group measured 1.2 inches. So accuracy for a gas gun, that's pretty solid. At that point, there wasn't a ton of heat in the rifle. Then I fired 2 consecutive 10-round groups. The first 10-round group measuring about 1.75 inches across the width. That could have been me. It was cold, windy, my hands were cold. But ultimately, 1.75 inches. And then the second 10-round group, which I fired immediately following the first. Now we've got quite a bit of heat in the rifle. That measured like 1.8 to 1.9 with those 2 high flyers. You take the 2 high flyers out, which I believe could be attributed to a poor position. Those last 10 rounds, 7 or 8 of the rounds stacked into a group right at 1 inch. But ultimately, those 2 rounds is a 1.8 inch group. You look at all 20 rounds together, 18 of the 20 went into that main group right there just above the dot at about 1.75 inches. Then you had the 2 flyers up above, which opened up the group. So accuracy-wise, I'm happy with it. I think there's potential there. Certainly, I can reload, play with some other bullets, see if I can fine-tune that accuracy. I think the potential's there. Again, this was the first day out at the range, so more time behind the rifle, more rounds down the barrel, maybe that accuracy, or a different bullet. Many times you play with different bullets, it'll help that accuracy. So was I impressed with the accuracy? It didn't blow me away. It actually landed in line with what I expected. And as you saw downrange, it was very functional for shooting practical type targets. At the 1,100-yard line, how cool was that? 1,100 yards with a $2,000 Palmetto Super Sass 175 SMK bullets. We made a ton of hits. I lost count, but I believe our hit percent was over 50%. Quite a bit of wind from about 2 to 2.5 mils, and we were something like 13.1 mils of elevation to get out there. Hammering a full-size IPSC at 1100 yards with a 308 is super fun, and I tell you what, I'm impressed with the performance of the Super Sass. Here at the 640-yard line, kind of a natural terrain off of these rocks, rifle shot well. Recoil impulse was normal and as expected for a 308. Really nothing out of the ordinary there. Had no problems connecting on that 2/3 IPSC, 640 yards. So shooting experience, it's in line with what I would expect for a 308 AR.
Right.
Nothing really blew me away. Nothing was great or nothing was really terrible. For a $2,000 rifle, the accuracy is in line with what I expected. It's functional. The shooting experience is in line with what I expected. It's functional. The only thing that I can really call a negative out here today were the 2 magazines that didn't seem to work. Otherwise, the rifle performed quite well. So with that, let me know what you'd like to see me do with this rifle. Like I say, I gave in to all the comments and messages. I know there's many of you out there that are excited to see me review the Palmetto Super Sass. So let me know. Do you want me to put it up against some of my Knights Armament SR25s, do a side-by-side comparison? Do you want me to reload for this and see if I can fine-tune the accuracy? Let me know. I'd love to play with this rifle. So far, I'm excited for the buy at $2,000. I want to shoot it more, put more rounds through it, and see how it behaves in time. So understand this video might be a little bit long for initial thoughts and intro, but appreciate you sticking around. If you've made it this far, I'd like to ask you to help me grow this channel. It's super simple. Like this video, comment down below. Most impactful is subscribe. When you subscribe, you let YouTube know you want to see more content from me, and you encourage me to keep pumping out the new content. I'm on a mission to get to 100,000. I'd love to get to 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And if you're watching my video, you're not subscribed, you like this content, do me a solid, hit the subscribe button. If you are subscribed, thank you for your support. With that, I hope you'll join me in my next video. Really quick, how about a little bit of bonus footage after dark? Unfortunately, I don't have enough ambient light for my night vision camera to really record a quality image, so I'll try to make this pretty quick. I have a 12-inch circle out there, and if I arrange that with the raptar, which is zeroed about 3 mils low, 477 yards. So let's zoom in with the Arken. I know that's about a 3 mil hold. I'm going to run the illuminator so that you can see it in the trigger cam. There was some pretty nasty wind. Let me do like something like a plate width off left. Impact. Impact. Off the right. Off the right. Pat. The right. Off the right. Well, there you have a couple of rounds after dark with the Palmetto Super Sass. Really cool rifle. I'm having a ton of fun shooting it. It's running well with the PMags. If you enjoyed this video, join me in the next one.